Hi everyone, this is Elias from RefMatch Media, and today we're going to take a look at the 2022 Buick Encore GX Essence front-wheel drive. Now, the Encore name is actually really fitting for this. You're actually going to want more and more and more of this little guy. Well, let's go ahead and get started. You get to the front and this is actually really nice. I do love the aggressive look to it. It does have a little Mazda-ish kind of design to it, but that's a compliment. We'll give that as a compliment. We do have the LED headlights. We also have that little eyebrow that just looks nice, the little daytime running light, as well as the LED fog light down here as well. My favorite thing about this is the front-facing camera, which is part of the 360-degree view of this Encore. It is really good. It is super sharp, super clear. Paired up with that infotainment screen inside, it is extremely good paired together. Yeah, one of my favorite things. Oh, and there's a ton of views to switch between them. But yeah, it's been really good. And I think probably one of my favorite things design-wise in the front is the hood. We have this like nice little, kind of like a little mohawk, so to speak, on the design, little peak here. So it just looks really good. I was super impressed with the way that this front looks. Oh, okay, so probably my favorite thing, I know I say that a lot, but is the ride height. This is actually surprisingly high for a CUV that, you know, isn't an off-road model. This has probably more ground clearance than some off-road models we've tested. You don't want to take this one off-road though, because this is the front-wheel drive, maybe the all-wheel drive if there is some drive selection modes, because this one unfortunately doesn't. But yeah, it's actually a really nice front end. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at what's under this little mohawk designed hood, I guess. Under the hood, we have the 1.3-liter turbocharged engine. It is connected to the CVT transmission, and this is only the front-wheel drive model, so the power will only go to the two front wheels. There is an all-wheel drive model, and I would say that is the route to go if it can keep the great performance that this offers across all four wheels. It's been really good. The power is extremely available at any RPM range. The turbo, the torque peak is at 1600 RPM, so it's almost always on, which is great, especially with a vehicle like this, where you can, you know, you're at a stop, you're, you know, passing, or you want to crank it up a little bit. So it does have power throughout the power band, and it's been really good at delivering it too. The CVT transmission, usually I'm not a fan of those, but it's paired very well. It's programmed exceptional for this engine and for this drivetrain. That's why I said all-wheel drive, should you go for it? Yes, as long as it can keep this essence, this essence across all four wheels. Now, speaking about four wheels, let's go ahead and take a look at that wheel and tire package. We get down to the wheel and tire package and we have a nice 18-inch wheel. I do like the dual tones to it. The fact that you have like a polished kind of face to it or whatever is kind of, you know, the front to it. And then the insides are colored in the same kind of gray that we have here. So it's really nice, or the silver. But the other thing that's great about this is the tire. So we do have the Hankook Kinergy GT. So yeah, like kinetic energy, I'm assuming is, yeah. And they are wrapped in, so the wheel is wrapped in a 255/55, and these have been really good. The traction is there. It does have enough power. That little 1.3 engine does have enough power to break it loose, but with everything, it works really well to get the power down. We also have great suspension in this. It's been absorbing a lot of great, you know, all the bumps. It's been extremely good. The brakes are probably my favorite thing about this whole configuration here. They are extremely good. It is a brake-by-wire system, and it's been really good. Now, I didn't like it in the Cadillac XT4. I felt like the calibration wasn't correct. In this, it's extremely good. Even my wife noticed it. The first thing she commented was, the brakes are so good, which is rare because she'll usually nitpick at something else or compliment something else. But the fact that she said the brake pedal was good really stood out with everything else from this. So it is a really, really good combination. All-wheel drive, yeah, if you can keep this and transfer it to the back, you definitely want to go this route. We get to the side and we can see it's a CUV, but there's more to this than it just being a CUV, which makes it impressive. So a couple of things are those sculpted lines. I do love the lines of the hood, really great. We do have the 18-inch wheels and that sidewall, a good amount of meat on them, which fills the wheel wells really nice. So the proportions are really good. I don't know if I'd go any bigger, but this configuration is really, really good. And again, we have these like kind of plastic wheel arches there just to break up the color or the metal design, you know, just to give it more character. We do have the 360-degree camera right under here. So it's really, I do like the color. It is a more subdued color, maybe something a little bit louder, but it's nice. And yeah, this has the roof rails on here. So if you're wanting to take this out on an adventure, you can attach that. We do have some chrome trim, which is nice. We do have a capless gas tank, which is a nice little touch to it as well. Less things you have to really touch, so to speak. But yeah, it's been nice. Well, let's take a look at the keyless entry. So we have our key fob. We'll go ahead and put it in my pocket and we'll get next to it, and it doesn't open up. So it doesn't have the true, you know, just pull the handle. You do have to press the button that it has. So that will unlock it, and then you can go ahead and open it up. And like I said, the entrance is a little bit on the higher side compared to some other CUVs or some even SUVs. So that's a nice little touch there for, you know, when conditions aren't the best. So you can lock it here. My favorite thing though is, even though I don't have the handle, I can unlock from the back. So it does have the button, so I can do that, as well as I can lock it. Nice little touch. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have in the back. We get to the back and we're definitely getting some Alpha Stelvio vibes, which is good. It's definitely a good compliment. It looks really good. I love these taillights. They're LED. I love how they stick out. And this cutout here is probably my favorite because they kind of, you know, kind of accentuate the rear. It looks really, really good. I do love this rear. My favorite part about this rear end is the backup camera. So we have the camera down here, but we have a rear view mirror camera right up here as well. So your rear view, not only is it a piece of glass, but when you flip the switch, it will also use it as a screen and it will transmit whatever that is capturing. It was really, really good. So say your car is just packed with things and it's a little difficult, or you have people inside and it's someone's big old head is in the way of the mirror, you can flip that and you'll be able to see out the camera. It's also been great at night. That's where that really excels, because when someone has really high beams or their headlights are just pointed incorrectly, instead of it reflecting off of the rear view mirror, the camera subdues it significantly and it's better on your eyes and it's not distracting. So it's definitely a great little feature. I love that. If you can, definitely get it with that. But yeah, it's a nice design. Now, we don't have, typically you would see either the logo is to pop the trunk or kind of a handle here, but it's actually hidden right under here alongside with the backup camera. We do have key fob, so we'll go ahead and key fob time. You can see we do have a couple of buttons on here, and we'll go ahead and push twice to open the rear, and we are greeted with actually a good amount of space. It didn't look as big before, but when you started loading things up, you're like, okay, I still have space to load more things up. So it's actually a surprisingly big trunk. Now, Buick has this little marketing thing where they say, oh, the floor, you could lower it down to get more space. Just leave it down. Just leave it down. There's really no need for you to have it at the top level. We do have a spare tire underneath, but yeah, there's really no need. And plus, I love the added little lip so that if something shifted while you were driving, it doesn't just slide right out. Yeah, eggs in a previous SUV. But yeah, I love that that is nicely kept there. But yeah, again, ton of space here. And again, I can either use my remote. It has the button to close it, which is good. Curbside, you want to go ahead and do that. Now, my favorite thing about this is it does have remote start. The great thing about this is, let me go ahead and open it up. So the way you use remote start is you push the middle button, the lock one, and then you press the arrow and it turns on. The craziest thing about this is the hatch is open. Some of these systems are so finicky of like, you know, the doors have to be closed. I know some of them are for safety, but I can't justify it. There's really no safety concern when the car is not being moved, because you still need to have the key fob inside to hit the brake and then press the start button. But it was great because at this point I can unlock the car, my wife can start loading up my kid, and if I forgot to turn it on first, I can still turn it on. You press the lock and the auto start or the remote start, and it gets it going. So great on you, Buick. I do love that feature. Definitely awesome. The fact that we're able to restart or start up the car without necessarily having to have all the doors closed. Well, now that the car is getting warmed up, and I need to get a little bit warmed up because it is kind of cold today in Texas, let's go ahead and go for a ride. We get inside of the Buick, and this is really nice. I was extremely impressed by this. Now, granted, my standards for Buick weren't, or my expectations weren't that high, but this is really nice. We get inside though, and we start with the door, and very simple layout, nothing complicated, nothing to, it's what you need is what you get. And one thing that is really nice is the armrest placement. The armrest placement is extremely good. It is placed in a location where I don't even have to work really hard to be comfortable. It really does the job. So the seats are 10-way adjustable on the driver, full power, but 8 power on the passenger, and the reclining is not power. That's a little bit of a, come on guys, it just make it the same. But we have that, and it is extremely comfortable. And again, with the armrest, it's such in a great position. It's super comfortable. The heating element is really good, especially now today that we were in low 30s today, but it was really good regarding, making sure that you're nice and toasty. And the only thing with this being white is I am seeing a little bit of staining already from like my pants. So yeah, kind of a little bit of a concern there. But other than that, these seats were extremely comfortable for a really long drive. So we put a good amount of miles on this. I would say probably almost close to 600 within a week. Because we wanted to really, it was really impressive. And we said, let's go on a little mini road trip. So it was really good. We get to the steering wheel, and man, this is surprisingly good. This was really good. So a couple of things with this. This is the leather wrapped steering wheel, and it is extremely comfortable. The leather is nice. It's the shape of it, the girth of the wheel itself is nice, and the feedback you get is really, really good too. So really impressive. And we have the buttons on the right to control your gauge cluster, and we also have the cruise control settings on the right, and we don't have volume in the front because, much like my favorite buttons, this actually has volume controls in the back. So it has a volume control and the state or next track or next station on the left. Only thing with this is the buttons are a little bit further back because this wheel kind of, yeah, it kind of curves outwards or towards you. So it does need the buttons to be a little bit closer to the edge, but other than that, they're awesome. I love those options because you can go ahead and make sure that you have you have your hands on the steering wheel and you're not playing thumb wars, so to speak, with this. So we have that. Again, really awesome shape as well. Flat bottom would have been nice. I don't know if the higher end models have it, but it's nice. Then we have your gauge cluster, and yeah, we have 2 analog gauges, simple design, and your screen in the middle for your information. Haven't really dove into it, really haven't needed to. It wasn't something super inviting, and it's not a bad thing because there were other things that were just entertaining me more or just better, had my attention better. So nothing wow there. I've had it at distance, and the miles per gallon or how much fuel range is really what I've had it at. So other than that, it's been fine. Then we look up a little bit and we have our heads-up display. So this one does have a heads-up display. It is really nice. It's extremely sharp. That was impressive, like how sharp it is. Even in super bright sunlight, I can clearly see it. It's not intrusive to your sight. You can easily look beyond it, above and beyond it. But yeah, when you want to pay attention to it, it's really, really sharp. And you have different modes that you can put on it. You can put the like the S2000 style RPMs, so you have that. But yeah, it's been a really nice touch to this. Then we get over to the infotainment system, and a couple of things. You guys probably can't see it, but I can see a ton of fingerprints on this. So this is a touchscreen only. There is no input knob or any wheel or any joystick or anything like that, other than these couple of buttons here. I hate it because of the touch, the fingerprints, but it's been really good. The system is really, really good. Very simple to use. One of my favorites, because again, the simplicity of, the icons will get you to where you need to go. So that's a really nice touch. One of my things that this is really, really lacking is the camera button. This definitely needs a hard camera button, not something I have to go into a menu for. And the reason why is because the camera system is so good, you're gonna wanna constantly use it. If the camera system sucked, then by all means, I could care less that I don't have a camera button on here. But because this is so good, it's kind of a double-edged sword because, yeah, you're gonna want a hard button. We come down here, we have your AC controls, very simple. Again, this has the heated seats, so kept you nice and cold, warm in that. So yeah, simple, nothing too complicated. We come down a little bit and we have the USB-C and USB-A connection for your Apple CarPlay and your Android Auto. And it has USB-A, USB-C, and we also have an aux connection, which is nice. Again, if you have a device that doesn't have either one, probably not in the last 5 years, but yeah. So we have that. And then we have a wireless charger. Wireless charger, you guys know my gripe. If you haven't, subscribe, like this video, check out all my other videos, all that YouTube stuff. But my biggest gripe with wireless chargers is a lot of times there's no wireless Apple CarPlay, but not in this. There is Apple wireless CarPlay, and there is also wireless Android Auto in this. And let me tell you, this thing is really, really good. It's connected really good. In fact, it's connected too good. What I mean by that is, I've been in the garage, I've turned on the car, and I have my phone, and my wife connected to it first. So my wife kind of beat me to the punch. She connected to it, and after she connected to it, I connected to it. So her priority is first. So I turn on the car, and she's been on calls, and it's connected to her phone. So I've had to forget it or disconnect, not forget it. So just disconnect it so it connects to mine. So it's been that good. She's been in the house, you know, a couple of walls, and it's been able to pick up. So really, really good to see that this Apple CarPlay is nice and strong with the connection. I loved it. I've been in Apple CarPlay 90% of the time, because the other 10%, I've been on that camera system. But yeah, it's really, really good. I love this system. We get down a little bit more, and we have the auto stop button. We can turn that off. With this one, my only complaint is it's good. So it's good, it will turn it off correctly. My only complaint about this is it doesn't have auto hold. So you can't auto hold, for those of you who don't know, is when you push your pedal, your brake pedal at a stoplight or at a stop sign, it will hold the brake for you, and you can release and the car won't move until you accelerate a little bit. So it doesn't have that. And with auto stop, that's kind of, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. Because you typically push your brake all the way till it goes ahead and locks or holds, and then it goes ahead and turns off the car to save fuel. But in this case, you're having to maintain pressure, and a good amount of pressure too, because the moment it senses you lifting up a little bit, it will turn on the car. So it's been okay. It hasn't been my favorite. So yeah, that's definitely one of my gripes with that auto stop option. And we get to the shifter, nice shifter. The buttons to shift are on the left side of the shifter. Cup holders, nice and big. We had plenty of space for big drinks there. Now we get to the back, and you can see my kid's seat there, and he was comfortable. He was comfortable. He had plenty of space. My wife had plenty of space. It's a pretty good back seat. So there is a good amount of space available for you to go ahead and have, you know, full 5-passenger loaded up CUV. Now, when we get to the trunk space, that was surprisingly good. Reason why is because you look at it, and it didn't seem like it could hold a lot. But we went grocery shopping, a good amount of groceries as well, and it really fit everything. I was surprised, and we had 2 big boxes of like plates, so they took up, yeah, a good amount of space, but we still had enough space for groceries. So that was actually really impressive. I was surprised. Now let's talk performance. We have a 1.3 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. We are cranking out 155 horsepower and 174 pound-feet of torque. That is going through the CVT transmission, and this model is the front-wheel drive model. Would I have liked the all-wheel drive model? Yeah, I think so, if it can basically build off of how awesome this is. What I mean by that is the StabiliTrak, which is like their traction control system, is really, really good. What I mean by that is the traction control really lets you break loose just a bit. It doesn't choke the engine of saying, oh, you know, lost the traction, let me cut the engine. It's been really good at just easing just a little bit, enough so that you're no longer spinning the wheels, and you can feel the power going from one wheel to the other. And it's been really, really good. I was super impressed with this. And you feel the traction, you feel on the wheel, on the steering wheel. It does a really good job at, you know, communicating with you. I was super impressed. And again, it's not the biggest horsepower numbers, but it definitely works really, really well. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Buick Encore GX Essence. I've had a blast in this. I've actually really had a blast in this. I've considered this really high up there from Buick. Yeah, I was surprised. Remember, find the right gear. See ya.